Let's talk about NXT, April 29th, 2025. So, Joe Hendry, he shows up. He said he expected some retaliation from Trick Williams after he called Trick Williams entitled and whiny the week before. But Trick Williams crossed the line. Get it? TNA crossed the line. Get it? He says that Trick Williams is Mr. Let's Talk About It, but can't stand that people aren't talking about him, but instead they're talking about Joe Hendry. He called Trick Williams arrogant. He called him entitled. Then he said he wanted to fight him. Dark State showed up instead, and they beat up Joe Hendry, powerbombed him in the middle of the ring. Did him real bad, did him dirty. They really did him dirty. Later on, Trick Williams came out to respond and said that Dark State got to Joe Hendry before he did. He says that Joe Hendry had his number last week, and he may have crashed out, but then he bought a ticket, flew over to Los Angeles, and decided to kick Joe Hendry's ass. And he says that the two of them are not on the same level. While he was out in LA, he met up with some friends, and he's going to be on the big screen. I'm like, movies? He's like, no, TV. Oh, that's not CW TV shows? That ain't the big screen. The big screen is movies. I'm sorry, that's the silver screen. Let me know what that is. Let me know in the comment section. What's the big screen? Anyway, Trick Williams is going to be on a CW television show, and then he says that he's Hollywood because the crowd was chanting Hollywood Trick. He's like, yeah, you're damn right I'm Hollywood. Joe Hendry just a local talent. Then he says that he put himself on the same level as The Rock and John Cena. Ava came out. She ran her gap. Trick Williams just said he realized that he's bigger than NXT. In fact, he's bigger than TNA. And then Ava was completely ignored that and said that she's going to give Trick Williams another chance to become the world champion. I'm sorry, the NXT champion. But he's got to go through a 25-man battle royal. Oof. It was announced later on that the 25-man battle royal will feature talent from LFG, Legends of Future Greats, Evolve, NXT, and TNA. So it's going to be a hodgepodge of all kinds of peoples in there. It was also they also did a nice little sweet thing where Undertaker showed up to shake Obafemi's hand again and told him it was his yard still, but it's only for now because the LFG boys are coming. And he brought like 3 LFG guys with them. They just kind of stood there blankly, didn't introduce themselves. I mean, just very rude. You come into this man's property, you get all up in this man's personal space, and you don't even have the guts to introduce yourselves. That's because you're standing there with Undertaker. Doesn't mean that you don't get to have any decorum. So the battle royal is set. Joe Hendry, he recruits Hank and Tank to fight Dark State. That will happen next week. So he already has a match, so he likely will not be in the battle royal. A battle royal well, that's how they're going to pick the number one contender. They put out a list of people already because, they put up a battle royal placard that featured a bunch of people, and looking at it, I am unenthused. It features such luminaries as Shiloh Hill and Eddie Thorpe. And I'm like, no way. Look, I get it. Everybody, they're not all going to be stars, bro. I understand. But I didn't see anybody on that list that was from TNA. So I don't know what's going on here. But I look forward to, probably Frankie Kazarian's probably going to end up being there. Probably Moose. I'm interested in seeing who from TNA they put in there. The Legends of Future Greats guys, well, hopefully they don't get hurt. Hopefully they don't hurt anybody else. And we already know they're going to pick the Goodwill Hunting white boy from Evolve because he's been everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he don't pop up on Raw sooner or later. They put that kid everywhere. He'd be everywhere all the time too. Unreal the push that kid is getting. And he has like no physique whatsoever. And he still looks like he's on the set of American Pie. He looks like he's like all of 17. I don't know how old that kid is, but he looks very, very young. But the Battle Royal, to be quite honest, it probably would do Trick Williams better to lose that match. In fact, it may make more sense for Joe Hendry to cost Trick Williams that match, especially if they're going to build the Joe Hendry Trick Williams match for the TNA show. Then Joe Hendry should interfere and throw Trick Williams out. That's just kind of how it should go. Who should win the match, however, is an interesting question. Because if you take Trick Williams out of the conversation, typically it falls to the next guy, who would be Javon Evans. But do you really want Javon Evans to get another shot? You don't want Ethan Page either. I mean, there's been those same 2 or 3 guys for like the past 4 months. Ricky Starks, I think it's too early, personally, for Ricky Starks. Maybe there should be somebody who should get called up from Raw, or called down from Raw or SmackDown or something, or return. That might be nice. Whoever it is, I think Obafemi will beat them, but I'm interested in seeing who's going to win the Battle Royal. And to be quite honest, I don't have a whole lot of good ideas due to the fact that the men's division in NXT is kind of soft. All right, so you got Lexis King. He was defeated by Ricky Starks in an okay match with the Rochambeau. I need Ricky Starks to enter a storyline, please. There hasn't been any storylines yet. He's just been, hey, he showed up, he made 2 appearances, all of a sudden he gets a title match, and then he wins that title, and now he's just defending the title, which is fine, but I want to see him involved with something. That's what I want to see. Sean Spears is disappointed in all the members of the Culling. They should be disappointed in him. They should disembowel him. They should chain him to the radiator and leave him there, wherever they find him. He wants Izzy Dang to stand out, and he wants her to take somebody else's spotlight and put it on herself, rather. And the other 2 guys, well, I guess he just wants them to get their act together, which they all need to get their act together and go away. Except Izzy Dame. Izzy Dame can stick around. All the men in the Culling need to go away. Every last one of them. Just go away. All right. Io Sky and Ava put together a tag team match, but she had no partner. Jordan Grace showed up and agreed to team up. This leads to the main event, where Jordan Grace and Io Sky defeated Roxanne Perez and Julia. Julia and Roxanne Perez are teaming up. And they're friends, well, not necessarily friends, but they're teaming up based off of mutual respect. And that they both think that they working together, they are unstoppable. I got to tell you, this was one hell of a main event. This was one of the better women's tag team matches I've ever seen. Roxanne Perez is a working machine. Despite the fact that she's kind of bland in personality, she knows what she's doing in the ring, and Io Sky is one of the best, and Jordan Grace is one of the best, doing some really great power spots. A lot of it was, the highly choreographed German suplex DDT spot that she did or whatever, and that kind of stuff. And Julia was good too. So this match was excellent. Roxanne Perez did a double jump lion salt, which was amazing. The finish came with Julia and Jordan Grace fighting off. They just kind of rolled around on the floor, leaving Roxanne Perez and Io Sky alone. Roxanne Perez goes for the pop rocks, but Io actually counters it. Great drop kick, over the moonsault, 1, 2, 3, Io Sky wins. Great match. After the match, Stephanie Vecher says that she wants a new challenger for her championship, and Ava decides, okay, Julia versus Jordan Grace. Next week, the number 1 contenders match. Okay, this is a good match. It's a really good match to be number 1 contender. Here's the problem, though. Not only have both of these people lost already, but Jordan Grace has not been involved in a storyline since she came in. She's just kind of been sitting on the bench, jumping in the game when she's called. Similar to Ricky Starks. You're not really getting an opportunity to know a lot about them. I think they did do an entrance video package for Jordan Grace, clearly, but that was how many weeks ago? And she hasn't been involved in a storyline since. So now she's been in the title picture. Jordynne Grace has spent a great deal of time in crowds or in aisleways staring at the champion, not doing much of anything in terms of personality, storylines. I would like to see more from her too. I think that Shawn Michaels has kind of really dropped the ball on these two, on Starks and Jordynne Grace. Just kind of assuming that because they've been around for a while that everybody knows them. And then also not doing something meaningful with them while they're present, which is deeply concerning. But we're going to move on to Tony D'Angelo and Stacks. All right, so Tony D'Angelo and Stacks were supposed to have a face-off, but Stacks didn't show up. He decided to go to the bridge instead. Tony D'Angelo stood in the ring, said that Stacks has always been passionate and impulsive, and he's always had to clean up behind Stacks when Stacks popped off. But this time, he's crossed the line. He's gone too far. His ambitions to always one day lead the family have made him cross the line. Now, Stacks has to pay for his sins. Stacks refused to come down there, said security was there anyway, so nothing was going to happen. Then he says that Tony D'Angelo has gone soft and is not capable of leading the family anymore. Nobody knows where Luca is, and he didn't put Rizzo in hiding. He says so he took the reins, and he's going to lead the family, and he's going to put Tony D'Angelo in his place. Then he says, you don't even know who to trust, do ya? And so security guys attacked Tony D'Angelo, and he fought him off before saying if Stacks wants the crown, Stacks wants the throne, he got to come take it himself. Okay, this is a very solid segment. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, with the exception of Stacks not being in the ring. It hit all the beats that I expected. These guys have been friends for a long time, and in character, of course. Tony D'Angelo is a decent actor. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get this character over. He knows what the character should say. And Stacks is playing the role of the enforcer pretty well. He thinks he should be the boss now. It's been long enough. Tired of waiting. Tired of Tony D'Angelo letting people like Dark State think they can do whatever they want. Okay. They haven't set up the match yet, but the match is inevitable. I wonder if they're going to do it at Battleground. I don't see why they wouldn't, though. Next, we got Noam Dar. He has the cup. It is a metaphor reunion. And then literally 2 seconds later, Lash Legend suggests that everybody go their own way because people have found some level of growth on their own. And Noam Dar agreed. Like, Oro Mensah's going to go to Evolve. Noam Dar is going to defend the cup. Jakara Jackson's going to, I don't know. And Lash Legend's going to do Lash Legend things. So not only did they put the metaphor back together just to break them up, but then they also broke up Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. What is this? Why would you do this? Another beloved stable broken up on NXT. This is the third one in one calendar year. It's the third one. First they broke up Chase University just to put it back together. Then they broke up the D'Angelo family. Now they're breaking up the metaphor. And they're not done, by the way. Because they're going to break up the No Quarter Cash crew as well. Later, they had Miles Bourne saying he didn't care what Charlie Dempsey thinks about him teaming up outside of the group. And he's going to be in the Battle Royal, despite the fact that Charlie Dempsey might not want him to be in there. And Tavion Heights is like, but what would Charlie think? Just big dumb. Just big and dumb. I don't understand it. I love Tavion Heights, though. He's a great wrestler. But just the character is just dumb. And Miles Bourne is the rebellious one. He can't hear shit, which is great because if Charlie Dempsey tried to give him a hard time, he can't hear it. But now they're breaking up all the stables. They're breaking up every stable. Look, you want to break up No Quarter Cash crew? Fine. They have been an issue ever since. I think they started as a Diamond Mine, or is this an offshoot of the Diamond Mine? I think. No Quarter Cash crew has nothing going for it. They don't do anything with Dempsey outside of letting him do Bloodsport and outside and, Japan and stuff. And same thing with Tavion Heights. They haven't been doing much of anything with those guys. Tavion Heights probably needs to be a solo act, and he could probably really get over if he is. The unfortunate thing is Ren Sinclair really was just put in the group for comedic purposes, and she never really got a chance to do the comedy stuff. She basically just came in and been a jabroni. So you're breaking up two tag teams, not yet with the quarter catch crew, but it will be happening. But now they have broken up Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, which I think is the wrong-headed. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend show a great deal of promise as a tag team. We know that WWE sees more in Lash Legend with her being bigger and more athletic. Okay, I get it. They see more in her. But there's so many girls on the roster now, and Lash Legend is not in the same conversation physically with, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. She got the size, but in the ring, she's not there yet. Jakara Jackson can go in there and take bumps, and she's got charisma. I just don't see what Jakara Jackson is going to be able to do by herself. Lash Legend is going to be on the roster. She might be fine in a conversation by herself, but she's going to get in that bottleneck on Raw or SmackDown or even here in NXT, and it's going to be difficult for her to find a spot. Jakara Jackson, you must as well just ship her over to Evolve, because that's what it seems like is going to end up happening. If they're not going to make room for her or Lash Legend on NXT, they ain't got no room for her anywhere. But I think Jakara has put in the effort that you just don't cut her. But what do you do? What else could you do? If you're going to just call up Lash Legend by herself, then I think you're really doing Lash Legend a disservice. She needs Jakara with her. Or let's not say need. It's a preference to have a real female tag team where they can work together and they could, have a decent run with the tag team titles, or, be in the conversation, or at least, or just do skits and things, just the two of them. But breaking them up, that should not even be considered. Now, breaking up the Metaphor as a unit, who cares? They haven't been together in forever. Oro Mensah spends most of his time on TNA and doing Evolve, and Noam Dar was hurt. The only issue here is Noam Dar has been in WWE for 10 years, and he hasn't gone anywhere. His progress has been nil. His progress has been backwards. This is a guy who used to be featured on Monday Night Raw. Okay? So, we're on the breaking up of the Metaphor is what it is. The amicable breakup of the Metaphor is very strange, considering they made it all to do about this big reunion, only to break them up 30 seconds later. Not even 30 seconds later, like 10 seconds later. Okay. Poor Jakara Jackson. She's going to be the Oro Mensah too. He's probably going to be the odd man out as well. But there's always a chance, a greater chance for a man that he's going to fall backwards into something. Plus, who knows? If he finds a regular roster spot on Evolve, he might be good. Which is why I hope they send Jakara Jackson to Evolve as well. She needs it. Hell, you might as well send Noam Dar to Evolve too. You send them all to Evolve, shit. Except Lash Legend. You probably need her for something else. Alright, so Carmen Petravich, she had a match with Sol Ruka, which she lost, of course. But it was an okay match. The match was set by Ashanti Theodonis, and Carmen Petravich was not ready for this match. In fact, she was lounging around listening to Chemical X complain about losing the tag team match in TNA, even though they didn't get pinned. They were still upset about that, but a loss is a loss. So, but after the match, Ashanti Theodonis tried to console Carmen Petravich after she lost, only for Carmen Petravich to kick him in the head to the ground and finishing their angle. So they're breaking them up too. So they're breaking up everybody. Are they going to bring Nikita Lyons back in this storyline now? Like, remember, this whole thing started because Carmen Petravich was jealous over, Nikita Lyons and Ashani Theodonis having each other's phone numbers and all that kind of shit, right? Like, is she going to kick Carmen Petravich in the head now? Because Nikita Lyons has been on the bench for a minute. She ain't been doing much of anything at this point. A whole lot of nothing, especially since Stephanie and Jordan Grace came in. It's been the death knell for the Nikita Lyons and the Lola Vices and a couple of others. They basically fell off the face of the earth at that point. They fell off the planet. It's unfortunate. But I don't like the idea that Carmen Petravich can just strike Ashani Theodonis and, he's got to take it and that's it. He can't retaliate at all or anything like that. Like, at this point, wouldn't it be nice if he called in, like, B-Fab from SmackDown to do something about this? Because, they were in Hit Row, they're friends. Or he had to call Nikita Lyons to do something about this. But it seems like she's just going to continue her career and he's just going to go sit on the couch, I guess. Because she's the star of this whole thing, I guess. When the last time that dude had a match anyway? When the last time he did anything? By the by. Anyway, Hank and Tank defeated Briggs and Inamura to retain the tag team titles. Inamura accidentally hit Briggs with the legs of either Hank or Tank. It doesn't matter. I didn't care about this match because I don't like none of the people in it. Hank and Tank are kind of fun. If I turn my brain off and just let them do their thing, then they can be pretty fun. But I'm not a fan of Briggs and Inamura. Just not. I'm trying to get over my hatred of Hank and Tank and just enjoy how meathead they are, which actually does make them fun in a different way. I still prefer the Creed brothers on the meathead scale, who, they just remind me of just two super jocks with not a brain cell between them. Like, let's just go jump off of dumb shit. Let's do a 450 into a crowd. Yeah! Like, let's do a human cannonball in a doomsday device. Like, yeah! Beating the chest. Like, that's the kind of meatball shit I'm into. Hank and Tank are cool, but they're not on that level. They're fine. I wish they would change their gear up, and change their look and their names. You know what else that's weird? They announced them as Hank blank and Tank blank, and then Hank and Tank. Just announced them as Hank and Tank. Well, I don't even know why they have last names. I know one of them is Tank Ledger. Who cares? Who cares about this guy's name, though? Really, it's an interesting bit. They took Fraxium out of NXT and then started breaking up tag teams. Like, that's weird. Now they're teasing up Briggs and Inamura breaking up, and they're teasing No Quarter Cash Crew breaking up. Why are you breaking up tag teams and you just lost one of your top tag teams? Shouldn't you be trying to replace them? I don't know. Maybe that's the goal, is they're going to put Lexus King in a tag team. That's the only thing he hasn't done. And that's probably the best place for him, is to be a tag wrestler. But who do you going to tag with that bizarre dude? I have no idea. I can't think of anybody. Oh, yeah. Before I move on too far, because I already forgot about it until I saw it written down here. When Undertaker showed up with Obafemi, he shook Obafemi's hand, and there was the LFG guys were there. They were menacing Obafemi. Booker T was looking at this guy, one of these guys. His name is Shiloh Hill. And Booker T could not get that name out for nothing on earth. He was just staring at oh yeah, man. And just staring at this guy. He couldn't. It took for Vic Joseph to actually say the guy's name for Booker T to be like, oh yeah, Shiloh Hill. And it made it even funnier because he was getting made fun of by John Oliver for having the name Shiloh Hill. Like, this whole thing is just hilarious. But I just, Booker T looking right at the fucking kid, he couldn't remember his name. He's on live TV. Like, that was really funny. I like that. So Kalani Jordan, she mocked Sol Ruka for not defending the title enough, and Sol Ruka was willing to give her a championship match. Zarya was like, nope, we're not doing that. I'm not just going to give you a title shot. You got to go through me first. So Zarya will wrestle Kalani Jordan next week. I'm interested in that. And that is NXT. NXT, okay show. Obviously not the biggest show in the world. Kind of flat in terms of storylines. You still got Dark State running around. Yeah, you're gonna do another Dark State 6-man tag next week. You still got Hank and Tank with no real discernible character development. There's no character development for Jordan Grace, no character development for Ricky Starks, or there's some character development for Roxanne Perez because now she got left again, this time by Julia. So maybe that's gonna change who she is. Io Sky was the guest star and came in and worked very hard. I mean, I've put Io over in every episode of every show she's been on so far. She has been a phenomenon. There wasn't that long ago where I said that if Vince would have let Io go, nothing of value would have been lost. She was going to go back to Japan, and that would have been fine with me. I still wouldn't have cared. But now that I think about it, like, man, missing out on this girl. She's got a lot of charisma. She's got a lot of personality. She can't speak the language, but charisma isn't necessary to speak the language. Sometimes people can just got swag, and they can carry themselves very well. And I think Julia is another one of those where they carry themselves very well, even though they don't speak the language. And people like Io. She's very likable. So I'm glad she's still around. I wish the women's division was a little bit more focused. I know it's been basically the same 3 or 4 girls for the last 3 or 4 months. They turned Julia heel, and she's been more of a vicious heel on Raw than she has been on NXT. She's still kind of a tweener on NXT, which I don't understand. And it's been a thing there. But I want more storylines. Right now they're doing a good job booking matches, but they're having a difficult time getting people to care about these matches. And them saying, okay, we're just going to book a battle royal for Battleground. That's fine, but I would prefer if Oba Femi was in the middle of something with a guy and that guy was chasing the title rather than, hey, this guy won a battle royal, so now he's going to get a shot. And it's not going to be anybody, major that I can foresee. Because again, it can't be Joe Hendry because he's going to be in a 6-man tag. And if it is Joe Hendry, I would be shocked. But that still wouldn't be... Well, actually, they teased it. I guess they could do it. They teased it already. But do you really want Joe Hendry to lose to Randy Orton and Oba Femi? I don't know, man. I think it probably would make more sense for Joe Hendry to pop up and throw out Trick Williams, lead into a match Joe Hendry can actually win. So that probably would make a lot more sense. But I like NXT. It's a fun product. I really like the Tony D'Angelo stuff. I like the direction for the No Quarter Cash crew. I think that a lot of these groups, if you're going to break them up, if you have a plan for the guys that you're breaking up, then it's fine because sometimes people get lost in groups. And I think for a long time, guys like Tavion Heights have not really benefited from being in a stable. It just essentially reduced him to being a tag team wrestler, which is fine because at the time, the main top division of WWE was kind of full. At the time when the No Quarter Cash crew first started, Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov was there. Oba Femi was there. There was Trick Williams was making a name for himself. Even Dijak was present. There was quite a few people there that was, in those top spots, and there wasn't no place for him, so you put him in a tag team so that he can get some exposure. But then they didn't do enough with the tag team, in my humble opinion. I think No Quarter Cash Crew was one of the better tag teams because I think Miles Bourne is quite good as well, but they were underexposed. And the same could probably be said for the Meta Girls. But if you're going to break these factions up and there's no plan to do anything with these characters, at least I don't see any discernible plan. I have virtually no idea what you do with Jakara Jackson as a solo act. I don't know what the hell you do. She's going to end up going back in the pile with, Nikita Lyons and the rest of them. I don't see how it's going to work. But my issue with NXT is the sort of lack of storylines. They're doing singles matches and battle royals and things for number one contenderships. When, again, this show was much better when they were doing storylines. So I would prefer if Ricky Starks and Jordan Grace were in storylines. I would feel better if Hank and Tank were in a storyline, which it's like they're about to be in one. They're more than likely about to get, wrangled about a Dark State. And maybe the Dark State will end up being the tag team champions and they're going to give them the same run the Shield had. They're going to have 2 members of Dark State as the tag team champion, and one is probably going to win the Heritage Cup. I'm just going to say Heritage Cup to avoid the idea of one of them winning the North American title. I mean, I can see them doing something like that, where Dark State win all the titles. But we need to see more of them too. Like, they appear and beat people up. We don't know that much. I mean, they did one segment about these guys, and then everything about this has just been them hanging around in the parking lot, with one pants leg rolled up, looking mighty strange out there in these streets. I don't get it. But NXT's fine. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
No one does it better.